Okay, the WNBA wrapping up another season. It has some stars who have become household names, as we just talked about. And it's a time the league should be celebrating, but it is going through growing pains, specifically this new collective bargaining agreement. Break it down. What's at stake?
Well, here's the issue. It's the NBA pays 50% of its revenue, basketball-related revenue, to its players. The WNBA pays, at the moment, less than 7%. And there's no mechanism in place right now to get the women a higher revenue share. The WNBA and the NBA owners, who own the majority share of the WNBA, claim the WNBA doesn't make a profit. There's no real independent evidence of that. So we're sort of at an impasse here, where the WNBA players saying, "Look, I don't understand why you're not paying us what we're worth," and the NBA is sort of saying, "Well, we don't know that we have the money to do that." I would point out the NBA has always insisted, when it negotiated with its own players, they've done this for 5 decades, that when they negotiated with their own players, they insisted they weren't making any money either. This has been a standard negotiating tactic for the NBA for a very long time.
I like the term impasse, too. And players say they want to be paid what they're worth. I think a lot of people get it. The NBA players are simply making wild amounts of cash. So what's the Women's League best argument at this point?
Well, the best argument is there's been such a substantial growth in this league. It's gone from about $100 million in revenue in 2019 to $300 million in revenue now. There'll be a new television deal that'll kick in starting next year. That's going to up revenue up to $500 million.
Wow.
And you have the players making the top salary is about $250,000. To put that in perspective, the NBA was paying more dollars to its players back in 1973 or 50 years ago than they're paying in dollars to WNBA players right now. That's not adjusted for inflation. Those are actual dollars. So they were paying players in the NBA like $300,000 50 years ago. So the WNBA players are substantially underpaid relative to what they should be paid. And so that's really the problem, is the women are looking at this going, how is it that you paid the men so well 50 years ago, and you somehow can't figure out what to pay us now?
Yeah. Okay, so it really, a lot's at stake. It's hard to overstate how big this could be for the league. Are the women going to win, or are they facing a lockout? Because if the two sides can't come to some kind of agreement, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's really hard to see how this is going to be settled by October 31st. That just doesn't seem at all likely. The NBA has a long history of winning its labor disputes with the men. Starting back in 1983, the men have consistently taken pay cuts in negotiating with the league. So even though the NBA men make millions of dollars, it is still the case that the owners make even more. And those are the very owners the women of the WNBA are negotiating with, because the NBA owners own more than 60% of the WNBA. That's who they're negotiating with. It's not Kathy Engelbert, it's Adam Silver. Yeah. Adam Silver insists they're going to make a deal, but there isn't really anyone else who shares his optimism on this. It seems like a lockout is likely to happen. I will point out, we've done research on this. We did this many years ago. Yep. There's no relationship between attendance and lockouts or strikes. Fans are not going to hold a grudge over this. Okay. They never have.
Well, that's good to know.
But it is going to make people unhappy. That is definitely going to be true. So we don't know that the next season is going to start on time.
Okay, when we talk about women, pay disparity is a huge deal, and it has been for decades. I think of the drama surrounding women's tennis, the majors, the LPGA. It's been struggling for greater purposes. It's just a tough road for them.
It is very much a tough road. Women have historically been underpaid relative to men in terms of percentage of revenue they're paid. Women's sports got a late start relative to men. Men's sports started back in the late 19th century. Women's sports really didn't kick off until about 5 or 6 decades ago. So men have a big head start. They have a much bigger fan base. But even when you look at percentages of revenues, women get paid less than what men are being paid. A lot of that is related to the fact that often these teams are owned by men. And so it is the case that one would suspect there is some level of gender discrimination going on here, where men are not treating women the way they treat the men.
To pick up on that, we only have 30 seconds left, but talk about Title IX, because it is being whittled away, and I think that is a huge travesty.
Yeah, it is the case that Title IX has never really ever been totally enforced. And so that's an issue. We still do not have a case where in American colleges, men and women their sports are being treated the same. So it is the case Title IX's helped us develop professional sports because women's sports are a bigger thing in college than they are in other countries. But even in colleges, men and women are not being treated the same.
Yeah. David, great stuff. Thanks for coming on our program. It's a good insight, important topic, and I don't think it gets enough attention. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.